So here we are at Real Recognized Fake with 4 phenomenal, beautiful Black and Hispanic women. And I guess the world just wants to know, why are we here?
So we're here today to talk about Lady Soldiers. So Lady Soldiers is a new movement that we've actually been working on for the past year.
Wow.
So we are coming out with a book. So the book is basically short stories about each of us and things that we have overcome, battles that we faced, but it's also to relate to all women because as women, we face similar battles and we're stronger together. That's our slogan. We are stronger together. So we're excited to be here. Thank you for having us, and we can't wait to tell you more about us.
No problem. I'm excited already. I've seen your faces throughout the community, but for the world, can you introduce yourself? Let us know a little bit about what you do and why you chose to be a part of this project.
So my name is Regina Hudson. So I'm actually a life insurance specialist. That is my profession. Also, I'm out here in the community. I love empowerment, woman empowerment, community connections. So that's basically who I am. I'm a single mom as well. So I represent for all single moms and all Afro Latinas. I'm a survivor, and that's basically who I am.
So much power.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more.
My name is Melanie Nunez. I am a domestic violence counselor, and I also have founded the Jasmine Nunez Foundation. It is a nonprofit organization in memory of my sister. I chose to be a part of this project because I just thought it was the perfect platform to talk to women and kind of get them to feel empowered. I feel like empowerment comes from sharing stories and hearing it. And I also feel like it was just a perfect opportunity to meet other women, again, just empower each other. And that's basically why I'm here.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Janice Afra, and I'm a single mother, a master braider, and I joined this movement. Actually, Regina asked me to join this movement, and I've known Regina for a while now, since elementary school. So, we share a lot, and I've been through a lot. Cancer, sexual abuse, I learned through my experiences, and I just really based my life on self-healing and healing myself. And I feel once I do that, I can share my story and just heal the people, because together, again, we are stronger. So that's really what I do.
Yeah. Beautiful.
All right, I'm Shaughnessy Hill, best known as Shawnee Crafts. Full-time, I'm a case manager and advocate for adults with mental health disabilities, but I don't stop my dreams there, I should say. So from there, I wear a few hats. I bake, I'm a cosmetologist, I'm an auto technician, I'm an artist. I just like to sum it all up saying I'm a one-stop shop for all crafty needs, all artistic needs. I joined the movement once I got the call from Regina as well. With the loss of my daughter, I begin to understand that there's so many women that go through it, and there's sort of a taboo, with the situation. And I remember making a post about it, and just the flood of love in my inbox, and so many people saying, "Oh, thank you for saying something," So the idea is just to reach more people with my story in this book.
That's amazing. The first thing that I want to be sure not to bypass is I'm just basking in the strength that you guys just said what you said. Like, you guys are smiling, no tears in sight, standing strong, sitting strong, and you literally touched on domestic violence, sexual abuse, loss of a child and cancer all in one breath. That just excites me for how much I feel like how powerful this book is going to be, because a lot of people try, just to be honest, a lot of people try to write books about helping others, but they haven't done the healing and the groundwork first. So just to witness your strength just now was inspiring and exciting. And with that being said, this book is for all women. obviously. Here at Real Recognized Fake, we are specifically and particularly concerned with Black and brown people, but I just think it's so phenomenal that you guys are looking to help all women. When you guys first got together, can you give us kind of the rundown of like steps that you took to get to this point? And then I want to do like a deep dive into some of the stories that you'd like to share. So what was the process? I heard a couple of times it went back to you.
So really, we just had the thought, or I had the thought, like, you know, I know myself and everything that I've been through, and the highs, the lows, you know, constant, daily. But I also know, again, you know, I've known Jana Liz for so long, and her story is just, it amazes me, because she is a true survivor, a true soldier. So I wanted to bring it together, because I feel like we have similarities, but yet we're so different, but yet our strength, you know, that's the bottom line. So, you know, I started just reaching out to these amazing women. You know, I think I reached out, it was either Jana Liz or Shansi first. You know, Shani, I've known her for a little while as well. You know, and I know about, you know, the miscarriage, but also she's extremely talented. So just reaching out to each, and then Melanie and Melanie's story, and, you know, the loss of her sister, and then turning it into, I call it tragedy into triumph.
Yes.
You know, creating a nonprofit in her sister's name, and, you know, advocating and spreading awareness about domestic violence. It's amazing. And, you know, even being able to talk about that story. You know, sometimes I talk about it and I'll cry. You know, I forgot who it was. I was telling somebody about it. I started crying. I'm like, that's not even my sister.
Right.
So we just, you know, we talked about it, and they were passionate about it from day one. And we just, since then, we've just been going, and, you know, we had a photo shoot that you actually attended as well.
Awesome.
In October of 2019. So it just shows how long we've really been working at it. You know, so we had a woman empowerment photo shoot where at least 30, you know, maybe 30, maybe even more women showed up. And, you know, it's on our website and in our gallery, and, you know, photos saying, you know, no more suicide, no more domestic violence, you know, love yourself. So we just, you know, we connected, and it's just bloomed from there. So
that is so amazing. You have involved a lot of the community in this process, and I think that's super cool, the way that you've provided, one, that photo shoot, and then the video that came out of it. Oh my goodness, it was phenomenal, and it really evokes emotion. Before we get to all the details of that, I want to know what are the major points of your story that people can be excited for to read in this book?
now of my story,
Of each of you guys,
Okay.
what should we be looking out for?
I think in my story, I've always felt like, and, you know, from childhood, I say it in the book, like I felt like I was always the oddball, you know, always the black sheep, you know, just I was super smart in the smart people classes, and you know, I just always felt different. So I was that girl, you know, low self-esteem. So all of those things, but I feel like I've blossomed. Like I have no fear now. You know, I'm like, I've already been that oddball. So now it's like, I'm ready to put it all on the table and let's go. So I think that's really what can be gained. I mean, single motherhood, it's a battle literally every day. So, you know, I represent for all of those mothers. I'm gonna pass it over before I cry.
For my story, I think my story, something that the readers can look forward to kind of reading into is, this is my story, but it's also my sister's story. So I feel like I'm giving her a voice where she doesn't have that voice anymore. So for me, it's kind of a perspective from a family member, someone that's, you know, I was there, but I didn't experience, not so much like me being a survivor or a victim of domestic violence. So I feel like they'll be able to relate to both of us. If they're going through it, they'll be able to relate to her story. If they know someone, they'll be able to relate to me. But I also think just my personal healing journey, honestly, writing the story for me was part of my healing journey. Like, it's something that's different for everyone. So I just hope that people can kind of read all of our stories and kind of see that everyone's healing journey is different. And there's not a guide to healing, but reading our stories, and I think we all kind of touch on that a little bit about healing. We're all healing, and I think that that's definitely something that they'll be able to kind of take from the book.
I think you mentioned something extraordinarily important, because trauma doesn't always just affect, it actually never just affects the person that's involved. Anyone who loves someone who's going through a traumatic situation is affected. And it's important that you acknowledge that there's a healing process that it goes along to that. So we're going to touch back to that, because that was awesome. Speaking of healing processes, me and Jen at least kind of started the year off in a healing process. So I met you earlier on this year, and you've just been such a bright source of energy and light and love, and you check on me often and things like that. And then we're finally becoming Facebook friends, and I'm starting seeing all these posts, and then I'm like, wait, what is she going through? And she has a second to check on me, a complete stranger. That just like blew me out of the water, but it goes right along the lines of why you're writing this book. Jen, at least I know you're going to share, but she just came up to her 10-year anniversary, right? Cancer free. We have to take a second for that. I literally sat back and took a moment, because, like I said, all year she's just been this bright light. I had no idea. And that just really inspired me even more to get to this interview, because it's like these women are doing more than just talking about it. They're living their truth. They're living their life, and they're healing in a way that people can't even tell the depth of their pain. So I think that's so powerful. So I know I just gave away part of it, but like, what else could we expect in here? But how? Just how? I guess.
Sorry, you just shook me with all that. I'm not used to all that love. So
and it's just
I'm just receiving all that. And if you can't find a good person, just be that person. I really believe in that. So like, regardless of what you're going through, check on who's always smiling, because everybody that smiles isn't always smiling for the right reasons. So with my story, I just want people to just take a second to breathe and just look around you, because everything around you is there for you to learn from. People, situations, just everything. So I don't ever think any situation is negative. So every situation you learn from. And with my story, I just want to relate to people and just let them know that nobody's alone. Like, we're not alone, and together, again, we are strong. So and health is really important. Mind, body, spirit. So just take time to really heal yourself so you can love others. And that's really what I base my life on, and just really keep on healing. And the obstacles don't stop. They don't stop. But the strength does grow. And we all grow. So that's really what I base my life on. And my story, I just want to touch people, and I want them to feel. Just feel. That's it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
That got me
That
over
was
here.
awesome. No, I held it back, but I felt that, especially the statement, check on people who smile. I cannot. Being in this position at Real Recognize Fake, and just in the city in general, I cannot express to you guys how many people are in pain, and how many leaders. I'm talking about the people right in front, helping everyone. And they're in pain too. Some of them are homeless, giving money that they don't have. Some of them are giving their whole salaries, but they feel what you're feeling. The people around you need help, and they know that they're so strong, so that they're prepared to take whatever's next, and they feel like they could take it on for the community. So there's a group of people just like you guys who are putting in so much work that we really do need to check in often on. And even though you're smiling, you're always going to smile. You are always going to smile, because that's just the power that lives within you. But we have to do a better job to not force our leaders like you guys to have to be resilient all the time, have to be strong all the time. There should be safe spaces where people who are exhausting themselves with all the things that you guys are doing. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Shaughnessy, I can't wait to hear some more about your story because I'm not going to give it away, but yours kind of, part of it came full circle for you. And oh my goodness, I'm so excited for the readers and just the way you're going to describe it. So I am.
Like from my story, I'm going to touch base on my story a little bit, I guess. So to make a long story short, I lost a daughter 4 years ago. She was a stillbirth. And that's a pain that never goes away, you know? And just the idea of feeling like you didn't do what you were meant here, what you're placed here to do as far as procreation, you know, and kind of feeling like I wasn't able to give my daughter what she needed to even be here, basically with my placenta failing. It was also a little bit of medical malpractice, a little something, but I'm past that, you know what I mean? So with that being said, like I said before, I realized that there's so many women that went through it. And it's kind of like, if your child's not here, people kind of just brush it off.
Yes.
Like, oh, your child's not, like, oh, well, like kind of get over it. Like, no. You know, and it doesn't matter. And I want to make sure I say this out. It doesn't matter if you lost a child at 2 weeks pregnant, at 5 months pregnant. If you actually got to hold your child, the fact that you've lost a child is a big pain, you know. And like I said before, the fact of it being taboo, I think it's important that as women we speak out and we let other women know, like, even with all our situations, like, you're not alone, you know. So with that being said, before my daughter was born, I dabbled in art. I mean, I've been doing art since I was a kid, you know. And after I lost her, I realized that I'm here for a reason, like, you know, and I felt like I had to live through her. I just wanted to make my daughter proud. So for the first year after her year anniversary, I was like, what am I scared of? Heights. I'm gonna skydive. And so from that day I jumped out that plane, I realized that our biggest problem, I guess, here on earth, in a sense, is fear. That's what holds you back. And I had to understand that that's all a mental thing. So from there, I just been on go. You know, if I feel the energy to want to paint this, to bake this, to do this head, to whatever it is. There's no one lane you have to choose. You don't have to be like anybody. You don't have to look like anybody. You're here for a reason. And I guess that's my story.
It is so beautiful. And I think, well, you touched on so much, but two things that I want to get back to. One is first of all, just the lack of information surrounding pregnancy in general. It's like, once you get to pregnancy, you think that you get to go to your doctors and they're going to have all the answers. Right. That is absolutely untrue. They often say that they don't know, like every pregnancy is different and things like that. So women in general are often on their own during their pregnancies. That gets exponentially worse when you're a Black and brown woman. Black and brown women are more likely to die during childbirth than anyone else. Black and brown women are more likely to have miscarriages and stillbirths, not necessarily because of their health, but because of their prenatal care and their lack of treatment, or the doctors not even recognizing, not being as sensitive to Black and brown pain than white pain. And I just want to repeat that one more time. It's literally on record that doctors in this country feel more sensitivity to pain from white women than Black or brown women. So you can go to the hospital and say, oh, I'm feeling this pain, and you don't know whether or not the doctor is taking you seriously or dismissing it, because there's a psychological aspect of it that just believes Black and brown women are stronger. So I think it is something that we need to talk about more. And then the reactions to miscarriage and stillbirth and all of those things, and the idea that we shouldn't talk about it. Oh, why would you bring up that depressing topic? Why would you be a part of that? It's taking me, excuse me, I thought I was over it, but it's taking me a lot of time to heal. But now I can say out loud that I've been pregnant 8 times. Anyone who knows me knows I only have 3 children. And I just thought there was so much wrong. I thought there was so much wrong with me. And then I started doing research and then realized majority of women have miscarriages, and more than one. And here we are in silent shame to not discuss it and not cry on each other's shoulder or holding each other or anything like that. And it's more than powerful that you guys are not only doing that for pregnancy and miscarriages and stillbirths, but domestic violence and sexual abuse and low self-esteem and cancer awareness, and just even that process. Like when you describe that in the book, where no one's going to come out and tell a cancer patient to get over it, but after a while, when they keep bringing up that they had cancer, or like, people are always trying to rush you through your pain. That's what it seems like. They're trying to rush you through your pain, and they're trying to rush you through your healing so they can be more comfortable. I think one of the things that Lady Soldiers isn't afraid to do is to make you sit in that discomfort. No, this happened. This pain was real. This is an experience that I've had, and because I've had it, I know thousands, if not millions, have had it too. And that's something that I found exciting about this book, and just the clips and the different things that you put out so far, because you're not running from it. You're not hiding from it. You're saying this happened, and you're standing behind it, no matter how scary it gets. And that's something that you don't really see in books that are supposed to help empower you. It's kind of just like quick steps of, write this down every day, or watch this, or find a mentor. You know what I mean? It's not really, life is going to happen, and it's going to happen hard. And sometimes it's not going to feel like there's an end to it. And then that's where you guys come in to assure us in all these very drastic, dangerous situations that there can be an end. But the one thing that I think is a thread between all of your stories is that motivation, one, not to give up, even when everything else tells you to, and two, your willingness to do more than surviving. So one of the things that is just a pandemic within the Black and Brown community is survival mode. Everyone's living paycheck to paycheck. Everyone's worried about their moment-by-moment schedules. No one has vision past very specific things. Or high school diploma, if it's college, then it's college. Or, you know what I mean? Very specific things. We're not getting up and thinking, how can I feel better in my body? How can I feel, how can I have more of a sound mind? How can I feel healthy? You know what I mean? It's more of just like, okay, this bill needs to pay. This is going to get shut off. This kid is doing bad in school. This kid isn't eating right. This kid is, you know what I mean? It's like we're so focused on small things. We don't, by the time we get to appreciate life, we're old and our body's failing us, you know what I mean? And then we get to be angry old people. So like I think it's so right. I think it's so important what you guys are doing. And all of you guys are mothers, right? Or except from you. How do you want I know you guys both have sons and daughters, so how do you want Lady Soldiers to eventually, like, when a couple years from now, 10, 15 years from now, and your kids are adults, what are you expecting that interaction is going to be? How do you navigate that? Because that's one of the big things that we talk about in the psychology world and things like that. Oh, we can't be truthful because it's going to traumatize, or you know what I mean? So you guys put a lot of information out there. You guys have very strong stories. How do you think your children are going to react?
Well,
and what do you want them to think of?
I mean, I feel like, as you said, survival mode, so it's like sometimes you can't even recognize what you've been through, or other people don't, they see you and all they see is the exterior, but they have no idea what's within. So I want my son to know that you're more than that. You're more than just, the outside. And that every person, I want him to treat people, as human, and, so I want him to learn that. But I want him to respect women. You better open that door. Just respect women. And, I feel like that's been lost, the respect for women and the protecting of women. So I hope that we bring light to that as well. But I definitely want that for my son, and for him to be proud of everything that he is, all pieces of him, flaws and all, and things like that. So, yeah.
That's an awesome answer. The reason why I asked, honestly, is because this is the work that Real Recognize Fake does. So the whole concept is to take out the fake. So I think it's super easy to recognize real. I recognize that you guys are beautiful. I recognize that you guys all have wonderful energy. You know what I mean? What's hard is when someone's beginning to be inauthentic with you, or when someone's beginning to hurt you or changing their emotions towards you. I've always felt like that's the more difficult side. So Real Recognize Fake is kind of the process of becoming so in tune with yourself that you're able to recognize when there's dangers, whether it's emotional dangers, whether it's systemic dangers, but whether something is coming at you in a way you don't want, right? And so I feel like Lady Soldiers forces you to do a deep dive into things that's gone wrong in your life, acknowledge that there's been some consequences, definitely acknowledge that there's been some rewards, and then taking those steps to create your life path, that path. That kind of stuff, you need like 15, 20 years of therapy. You know what I mean? So it's like the fact that you guys are helping people through that, because that's half the battle, even admitting some of these things happen. Like, because we're so taught to like data dump and run away from it. But you guys are memorializing that. And so I asked about your kids because I really believe, and I know for a fact that once they get to a certain age, they're going to see you guys in a whole new light, you know what I mean? Because they're going to be able to see the time frames, and they're going to be able to say, wait, my mommy did that. Wait, all I remember was this big Christmas. All I remember was, what was that indoor water park you took your kid to? You know what I mean? Like, all I remember was dancing bachata with mommy. You know what I mean? So all I was remember is mommy painting these huge. They're going to have these memories in their head of these great experiences you're giving them, and then they're going to have that understanding also, y'all were going through some real things. So when they go through it, it's not going to be in the end of the world. And that's the idea of breaking generational curses and anxieties and depression. So what y'all doing is phenomenal. I'll give you a quick story. My mother, at one point, my marriage was failing. I had 2 little babies. I think it was 3 and 2. And I was just like, I was about to break down. I was breaking down. So I called my mom and I'm just like, Mom, I'm never going to be as good as a mom of you. I don't understand how you did this. There was 8 children and I only had 2 at that point. So I'm like breaking down, Mom. And she's like, Tiffany, can I talk now? I was like, yeah. And she's like, Tiffany, I had so much help. And I was like, what are you talking about? First of all, I had WIC and food stamps. And I was like, what are those? Like, I didn't know because in my household, it was super separate. She explained to me that. And I was like, wait, I'm paying for everything by myself. Like, that's why I don't have any money. And so she explained that to me. Then she goes, and remember all the times that you're here, here, and here, which was like a daily thing. She was like, I was still working, or I was studying for a test, or I would have, in my mind, I was hanging out with my grandma. In my mind, we were partying with my cousins. But my mom was going through some real things, but we didn't have that connection. So for about the first 2.5, 3 years of my kid's life, I was constantly anxiety, depression, manic episodes, going back and forth because I felt like I was the only one in the world that couldn't do this right. So the fact that you are memorializing it out loud way before your kids and our kids, my kids, our community kids even needs to read it, it's there. That, I just have to say thank you from our community, because these real life stories is what's going to change our lives, because it prepares us. We don't have to go through the pain. We don't have to feel it. Like, I know as humans we're hard-headed and we want to get that knowledge base ourselves, but the way you guys have written it so authentically and so deep and honestly, a lot of people who pick up this book aren't going to have to experience the same things, and it's going to really help them through. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Any major points that we've missed? Anything that you guys are pressing to talk about, or specifically bring up about the book? Now's the time to do it.
I definitely want to mention homework for women. I think, women were overly sexualized in society. That's a whole fight within its own self. But I think it's very important for women to understand that your uterus, not even to get too medicalized or whatever, but I guess more so in a spiritual aspect, you can talk to your uterus, listen to it. You know what I mean? It probably sounds really crazy, but really, you have to understand that, or everyone should understand that your uterus went through trauma too. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that women understand that even having sexual relationships with people, there's an energy exchange. So you have to be conscious of who you're doing what with. It will resonate with you, absolutely, and as well as just kind of getting back to what our ancestors knew already. Like, have those yoni steams, take time, meditate. Because the doctors told me I wouldn't have children. They told me if I was to get pregnant again, that it wasn't going to happen for me. But I chose otherwise. So I was like, let me get me together. let me work on my uterus. Let me understand the traumas that I've been through. So I think it's really important for us to bring that up more in the community. You're not just a sexual object, you know. You're not just going to have a period, and that's it. It's important to know that you are connected spiritually as well to your womb. You know what I mean? And anything's possible.
That is super important, and it shouldn't sound crazy because it's 2020 and we have research and science and all those things. There's this pretty cool, that aligns with what you're saying, but there's this pretty cool study on water, and anyone can conduct it. So if you want to do this at home, you need to do it for about 30 days. But if you have 2 glasses of water, right, and put them on a mantle or somewhere in your house, and literally every day you tell one glass, I love you, and you tell another glass, I hate you, the actual crystals of the water and the way it's structured changes. And the ones that says, I hate you, literally it's almost disformed. And the one that I says, I love you, it doesn't change, or it either gets more bonds. And so it was baffling to science, because it's like, oh, what does that mean? Blah, 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 blah. That spiritual stuff is not scientific, but it actually is, because the law, I'm sorry, I know we're going a little off, but the law of conservation of mass means that energy can't be created nor destroyed. And so that means everything in this universe, energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if there's positive energy in your voice, that aligns to the Bible. Life and death is in the power of your tongue, right? Speaking truth into the universe. So like we're all understanding the same truth. Some is through spirituality, some is through religion, some is through science. But one thing we know is energy cannot be created or destroyed. So as you're speaking into your brain, for example, in America we do things like, oh, I'm an idiot, or that was stupid, or I'm dumb. That you're affecting the way you look at yourself, and that's adding up into low self-esteem, or that's adding up into second-guessing yourself and things like that. So it is completely science fact if that's what you want to go. It's completely spiritual if that's where you want to go. It's completely religious as well. But we do have a lot of power in our words, and a power in our thoughts and our opinions, and that's why meditation is so powerful, and that's why our ancestors took the time to think and really focus on our thoughts. Now it's like rapping, just say whatever's on your mind, but we're actually impeding ourselves and hurting ourselves by not taking the time to take a second, breathe, and kind of really recognize where you want to be in the world. And so I'm just, like I said again, I am so proud to watch you guys flourish, not only in your individual lives, but as a collective group. And as this grows, I'm excited to see people become more truthful with themselves and honest with themselves, because the world is an amazing place. I went from honestly being depressed and sad and stuck in a corner and suicidal to like every day is like Disney World for me. And I'm not being dramatic. It's like that's how I feel. I feel like every day I have a new opportunity to learn something more about myself, to feel joy, to feel elation. And it didn't happen until basically everything was taken away. And it's not saying that you have to have it taken away, but you have to be able to appreciate what was gone. And you have to be able to look at your life in a way that shows you, okay, this is me. These are all the things I have, but these aren't, they can come and go. This is me. Who am I? How can I be me? How can I appreciate me? How can I love me? And I think your book does a great job of giving some insight of how to see through at least the darkest time to get back to you. So I kind of just don't want to end this interview, but it's just so good. I tried to just make sure I didn't think of any last questions. Okay. Oh, there we go. How can we find you guys? Where can we find you? What's up next for the book? Okay, I can push this out. We got it. All right. What's next for Lake Shoulders? I know you guys are releasing it in a couple of months, right? And it's obviously not going to be just a book release, because you guys introduced it as a movement, and you guys are movements in yourself. So tell us what's happening with this book.
So yes, the book will be released July, August 2020. Okay. We're giving us a little bit of time, but we'll actually be sending it to editing soon. Hey. So it's moving. Yes, so the book will be released very soon. Actually, the authors will be doing a photo shoot soon as well, with another Springfield photographer. I mean, there's possibilities of, a radio show or a podcast. I mean, we really are just really focused on getting the book out, to be honest. But, you know, we want to hold, you know, different kinds of events. You know, I have a passion for the younger generations, you know, going into the schools or starting a program. Because, again, I know what it was like, you know, for me in middle school and high school and things like that. But even to prevent, you know, the single motherhood, you know, and uplift, you know, the low self-esteems, and, you know, just educating them on the things that they don't talk about in school, you know, in the curriculum, or the things that they don't talk about at home. Because again, there's a lot of things that are unsaid. So I just think that, you know, we're starting, and we've started the movement, but there's so much opportunity. And I don't know if as long as Melanie feels comfortable, but I would love for her to tell us more about, you know, the Jasmine Nunes Foundation, things that she's done in the past. Because I swear, I was like, I love this girl, and you know, in the past, I hadn't even met her yet. But I was like, she is just so strong. So I'd love for her to tell us more.
I just want to thank you for having me on this project. We didn't meet in person. We've been kind of like social media friends for a little while. I've been watching and applauding you from afar. You know, I didn't know you because I've been seeing everything that you're doing, all of you. Some of you guys I don't have on social media, but you still see people's faces and you hear names and stuff. So I'm just really honored to be here, sitting here with all you amazing women. I'm glad that you touched on the topic of the younger generation, because with the Jasmine Nunes Foundation, my vision was always to get into the schools. I did speaking engagements at colleges for the most part, but I wanted to get into like the high schools and the middle schools and talk to them, because that is something that should be taught. There's teen dating violence is huge, and they're not teaching.
It's actually romanticized.
So there's like that fine line where, that's so cute, he cares, or no, that's not caring, that's a little obsessive, it's a little controlling, and so I think it's really important to start with the youth, but with the Jasmine Nunes Foundation, like the readers will read about in the book, my sister was murdered in 2011 by her boyfriend at the time. He took his own life. We didn't get any answers. There's a lot of questions to this day that I don't have answers to. And so for me, I found that creating the Jasmine Nunes Foundation was to not only continue like her legacy. She played a huge part in the person that I am today. My sister was like my role model, like that was my best friend. And I just felt like for me it was therapeutic to help other people through her story, to be able to talk to people, tell them about her, who she was. And for me, just talking about her, it does more good than it does damage to me. That's why I do get emotional when I recall specific events that happened that led to her, not being here anymore. But when I talk about the person that she was, it's not something that makes me sad. I'm sad that she's not here, but I feel her around me. We talked about energy and vibes, and I'm a spiritual person, and there's been tons of signs. So I know she's with me all the time, and every time that I find a new platform to share her story and to spread awareness on domestic violence, I feel like that's also her, like putting me in your life, putting you in my life. And so for me, I think that it's just really important, again, to educate everyone, because it's not just the youth, but there's a lot of adults that are ignorant to the subject of domestic violence. There's a lot of people out there that judge, and they don't really understand the journey that it takes and the tries and how dangerous it can be for a woman to leave or a man to leave a relationship. That's, that's the most dangerous point in the relationship, and that's ultimately what ended my sister's life. She was leaving. And so I feel like there's just, now in 2020, I feel like there are more people talking about domestic violence and sexual assault, and you have the Me Too movement and a lot of different movements and women empowerment, but I still feel like there's a lot of work left to do, and I feel like what better place to start than with the kids in middle school and high school. So whatever opportunity I can get to talk about how important of a topic this is, I will take that, and at the same time tell everybody what an amazing person my sister was. But yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
That is awesome. I think it's so important to acknowledge that what you guys are doing goes against like every stereotype that this country has on Black and brown people. And I say stereotype because it's not based off factual information in the first place, but it's still pervasive. One, they say that we don't do this. We fight, we argue, we yell. Black and brown people don't sit around and talk, and definitely not with the intention of healing together. So that's something amazing that you're doing. And then just your poise and your grace and just the peacefulness, you know what I mean? We're always told that black and brown people are angry and loud, and it's an honor to watch you guys be so graceful in a space that you deserve to yell. If you guys told me we're gonna do an interview yelling at our exes and breaking plates, that would, you know what I mean? That would have been okay too, because of everything that you've been through and just yelling at the world. But you guys are showing the world how to be steady. Just even if they didn't, if you watch this interview on mute and just look at these black and brown women just being and sharing their truth and being honest with themselves, it really does change the game. And I know we do have a lot of national spotlight, but the reason why I think it's so important what you're doing is because we don't have that local, really intense women empowerment healing movement going strong yet. And I think that this book could be a major part of it. You guys put out that photo shoot thing y'all announced like a week before and it was packed, you know what I'm saying? So I really feel like what you're doing is so necessary in our city, in our schools, in our regular programs, because it is very preventative. We got to stop being reactionary. Sometimes you're not going to make it to the person who's trying to leave or the person who's trying to make a better life, but you can try to make sure they're never in the situation in the first place. And we have 8 hours a day with these kids in a building, so I think it's super awesome. And I definitely want to work with you guys on that too, and how to get this into the schools, especially the high schools, because it's just something, and middle schools too, honestly, because we start our sexual education and all that stuff then. So you guys just have a really super, super bright future. And I'm so excited to be one of you guys' first interviews, and I can't wait to get my hands on the book. I want my first copy. I want one of the first copies because I'm honored to be you guys' interviewer and to know you guys as people and to be a part of your community in Springfield. And I think you guys are going to do phenomenal things that is going to showcase a lot of talent here in our city. Awesome. I'm looking at 4 authors right now. And then just to inspire the next generation that you can be beautiful, you can go through pain, and you can still be a conqueror. With that said, you heard it here first with Real Recognized Fake, and we're looking forward to Lady Shoulders. Oh, I did forget one thing. Social media,
Yes.
links, give us all of it. I'll do that again.
And I actually wanted to mention, she wasn't able to make it here today.
Sonia.
Yes.
Yes, tell us about Sonia.
So Sonia Quiles, she is an amazing woman. She Afro-Latino, Latina as well. And she is a radio host with DBN. She's also a real estate agent. She's a community advocate. And her story is, as strong as ours. And she actually left from Puerto Rico. I think she was 18 years old, I think it was. She was 18 years old. She had a 6-month-old baby. She had a crazy childhood upbringing. So just her and her daughter came here from Puerto Rico. She came to Holyoke, Mass. And literally, again, survival mode. Lived on welfare, lived in a very small apartment, didn't even have a refrigerator. But she survived. She got her GED. She didn't even know English. So she only knew Spanish, but she got her GED. She learned English. She ended up getting her real estate license. Yes. So again, just, blossoming.
Phenomenal.
And surviving. So I just wanted to mention that she's our 5th author. She wasn't able to make it here today.
Yeah. Absolutely love Sonia. I
Yeah.
work with her too, and her show Educate with Sonia is so on point as she's trying to, as she described to me when she got here, she didn't know about any of the resources that were afforded to her. And she struggled, like seriously struggled. And she eventually figured it out. She could have took that to her grave, but instead, somehow she gets a radio show, Educate with Sonia. And every week she's figuring out some way to help people with financial education, social justice resources, like anything that you need. She's like an advocate an advocate for us here, and I just think it's a powerful addition to your story. It resonates with me because I'm first generation American, so none of my family are from here. They all came from the Caribbean islands and West Indies, including Puerto Rico. So you guys just touched on so many things, and I think that it's going to be a wonderful story, collectively, just to see how just to be inspired constantly how to navigate life. And we still need your social media.
Yes.
So
Okay. Now we're on that.
Where we're
All
gonna
right.
find
So you can find us. Well, our website is theladysoldiers.com. So visit our website, subscribe. We're building our network of women to be able to share updates and things like that. But we are on Facebook. The Facebook is at Lady Soldiers. So that's our Facebook. Our Instagram at Lady Soldiers Worldwide, and we're also on YouTube. So this video will be uploaded to our YouTube as well. So that's our social media. That's our website, theladysoldiers.com, and we're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And one last thing, I did want to shout out our sponsors, because our sponsors literally have financially invested in us, which we're so grateful. And we appreciate it. So Arise for Social Justice, which is a nonprofit here in Springfield, Mass. Their mission is basically to uplift, and really uplift like the lower class. So, in all areas, education, financially, mental health, things like that. So Arise for Social Justice, EASE, Encouraging Another Sister's Excellence, which is another nonprofit. So they're all about woman empowerment and woman health. Also, Kimmy Campbell, a good friend of ours. I know some of us know her as well. Kimberly Campbell, she's a fitness and health, nutritionist as well. So Kimberly Campbell, and we had one other one, TLA Consulting, which is a tax and credit building consulting firm. So all of this information is on our website, on our sponsors page. But again, we just really wanted to shout them out because again, they have invested in us, and they're supportive, and so we're excited to be able to partner with them, and we appreciate you.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. You guys give me a job by doing your creativity. So, I feel like I closed it like 10 times already. But I just want to keep learning more. But we can't. That's why you have to buy the book. Segue. That's why you have to buy the book. So, thank you guys so much for being here. You heard it here first on Real Recognized Fake. Lady Soldiers are coming out in the next 2 to 3 months. Make sure you're coming out whenever they have their events and their programs and supporting them, because they're doing something absolutely remarkable. And let's not jump on the bandwagon once the rest of the world catches on. They're here, they're homegrown, and their story is strong today. So go out, get Lady Soldiers. I'm sure we can pre-order it at some point, and just support the community and these amazing women who are going to change the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.